let's start with the nation, as we usually do. Presidency, Obasanjo unfit to give leadership sermon. Reform bills will streamline taxes. Earlier, OK, 75,000 naira minimum wage for Benue workers. Federal government targets 34.8 trillion naira revenue in 2025 appropriation bill. President Tinubu's economic reforms have cleared the way for foreign investors. Don't do estimated billion. NERC wants discourse. Okpebolo signs revised 486 billion naira budget. Okay, which story?
Okay, I have.
Go ahead. Major headline. So former President Olusegun Obasanjo has no moral authority or competence to sermonize on good governance and effective leadership. This was said by the presidency yesterday. In a reaction to what Obasanjo had said at the weekend, presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga highlighted the misdeeds in Obasanjo's years as military leader and president, saying that he has taken the self-righteousness too far. So delivering a keynote address at the weekend at Chinua Achebe Leadership Forum, Yale University, New Haven in Connecticut, United States, the former president said the country's pervasive corruption and all other forms of iniquity confirm Nigeria's failing state status under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said, and I quote, "The failing state status of Nigeria is confirmed and glaringly indicated and manifested for every honest person to see through the consequences of our pervasive corruption, mediocrity, immorality, misconduct, mismanagement, perversion, injustice, incompetence, and all other forms of iniquity." So he said this in the lecture titled Leadership Failure and State Capture in Nigeria. But then the presidency has replied saying that Obasanjo has a penchant for criticizing all successors. Everybody just got it wrong except him. And he said it's ironic that Obasanjo used the platform of Chinua Achebe's lecture to castigate the country and its government, whereas Achebe himself rejected the national honor bestowed on him in 2004 by the Obasanjo administration. And he says, Nigerians' condition today under your watch is too dangerous for silence. I must register my disappointment and protest by declining to accept the high honor awarded me in 2004. That's when Chinua Achebe rejected Obasanjo's own award. So he says that Obasanjo lacks the moral authority to give remarks like this because he did not do any better. They went ahead to talk about what happened during his own time: illegality, assault on constitution, failed economic policies, neglect of critical infrastructure, abuse of office, and many, many other things, lack of integrity. And so he should step away and allow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration do what they know how to do best and give us time to be able to do it better.
I have a lot of comments
to say on that, Abi.
Just remain.
You reserve your comments. Okay, let me talk about the taxes. So many of you know that there was a tax reform. The House of Representatives yesterday formally began an interactive session on tax reform bills with Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, just Chairman Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. He's the president of that Presidential Tax Reform Committee. And he was, so the idea was that when he had proposed these 4 bills, many of us already discussed this over the weeks, in the past weeks, where one of which was objected by the northern leaders concerning how they plan to distribute the VATs. They also plan to adjust some of the FRSC bills and all that. So the governors, when having a meeting at the NEC meeting, rejected quite a bit of the 4 tax reform bills that was proposed. However, the presidency said, let this thing follow the proper legislative process. Let it go to National Assembly. Let there be a conversation around it. So the conversation officially started yesterday, where Mr. Oyedele himself said that the presidency has interfaced with all shades of Nigerians. He spoke to everybody and added that the committee received submissions from 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Speaking specifically about the VAT resources, the committee chairman said currently under Section 40 of the VAT Act law, VAT revenue is allocated 15% to federal government, 50% to state and FCT, and 35% to local government. He said the current law, for example, requires that MTN makes its VAT return from its head office in Lagos, but what we are proposing is that such a return should be made based on the location where the calls were made. That will allow smooth computation of the derivation. It's quite debatable, but it's a conversation they're having in the National Assembly. We'll see how that goes.
So I have the appropriation story. So the federal government, as we're aware, is proposing an almost 50 trillion budget, and they're looking to raise 34.8 trillion of that revenue. They did a breakdown of how at the MTEF and FCP, that's the medium-term fiscal framework and the fiscal strategy paper presentation 2025 to 2027, the federal government at FEC decided how this money will be raised. They are looking to get, of course, this will raise our debt servicing, but they are also looking at how internally they will generate this revenue. So the federal government is targeting 19.6 trillion and 5.7 trillion from oil and non-oil taxes, respectively. They are looking at 2.87 trillion from government-owned enterprises. They're also looking at 3.6 trillion from independent revenue sources and 4.8 trillion from other sources. Also, they are looking at what this 47.9 trillion expenditure goal of the government would look like. They said they are looking at 4.2 trillion for non-debt recurrent expenditure. They are looking at 16.4 trillion for aggregate capital expenditure, 15.38 trillion for debt service, and 2 trillion for other expenditure. So with this, we will borrow, but they are saying it will be a last resort. They are looking at removing some, they've already removed the petroleum subsidy. They are looking at reducing tax waivers. They are looking at increasing oil production, and these are expected to make things easier over the years. Also, borrowing will be a last resort according to them. MDAs will ramp up MDAs in generating revenue. I hope that they stay as they say, because 15-point-something trillion.
Me, I want to take the NEPA story. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has warned electricity, they have warned the discos and told them not to forcefully migrate customers with faulty meters to estimated billing. They said that they are warning the discos that they owe the obligation to replace old meters. Tell them, because you are just telling them you are not acting. Anyway, so because some customers have complained that they are being forced, and that it's they feel that the discos are doing it to trick them or make them use estimated billing. A particular lady, Cecilia Nwadie, said that several attempts to load her energy token in the last 2 days has been futile, so she has been living in darkness.
Ew.
Can you imagine? She has tried. The other one, another customer said they have even told him that you are going to get estimated billing. Like he tried.
We have to make that in the hot topic.
I have someone who has had to pay 20,000. That one I know him personally in our area. He paid 20,000 to get that meter, so that no.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.